Hello and welcome to this ITV7 Picks podcast, where once again, me and Frankie Foster are back to go through all 7 races on the first day of Royal Ascot, as we're trying to find you all winners on Tuesday's ITV7 free-to-play game. That covers this year all 7 races on the first day of the meeting within the game, and 50,000 jackpot on offer, Frankie. Obviously, we did this over Cheltenham and we did this last year. We've come back again this year trying to find even more winners. It was brilliant across the 4 days at Cheltenham, but now we've got 5 days at Royal Ascot. How good is the action going to be?
It's incredible. I mean, 5 days, and every year we say the same things, but it's back-to-back Group 1s, and even the Group 2s or the listed races or even the handicaps, really, they look similar to Group 1s you have throughout the rest of the season because there's just so many good horses running. 5 days of it. Hopefully we find some winners. It always looks good on paper at the start of the week. But I feel quietly confident about day one selections. So we'll see how we get on. But I mean, it's a great week, and I think the ITV7 is great fun as well. It adds a little bit of fun to the day. You might not necessarily back them all outside of the ITV7, but to have a look at each race and chuck a selection in is good fun.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with the ITV7. You don't have to spend a penny. It is free to play. Also, if you want to join our league for this year's Royal Ascot, we'll be giving away a £250 first place prize. So have a go every single day of the week. If you're top at the end of the week, we are going to give you £250. And if you want to join that league, the code is ITV7TWE. Also across the Royal meeting, there will be up to £750,000 in jackpot prizes. So please just go and check all the T's and C's and details in the description below for our league and for all the stuff at ITV7. But now me and Frankie are going to try and find some winners across the opening day and the 7 races. We're going to start then, Frankie, with the Group 1. It's the Queen Anne Stakes. We have already done with Paul our anti-post preview, but now we actually get to see the declarations for the 48-hour stage. So Modern Games 2-1 top of the market, Inspiral 2-1 as well at the top of the market, Native Trail in there at 7s, Shindit 14s, Mutasabek 18-1, and then you've got 20-1 bigger the rest. Who do you like in this one? Because it's a cracking start to the meeting.
It is. It's a very, very good race, isn't it? And I nearly got teased into the whole, well, prices don't matter. I just need to find a winner. I'm going to go with Inspiral because she is very, very good in her day. But I'm sticking with my selection, which when we looked at, races last week from a price perspective, Native Trail, I think is very, very fairly priced. But I still think he's the most likely winner. Like, if you go back to his previous form, second behind Caribus in the English 2000. We know how good Caribus was, and third that day was Luxembourg, who I'm also a big fan of. He obviously won the Irish 2000. He was third in the Coral Eclipse. He's got some serious top-level form. And just because one off run and then maybe definitely an underwhelming seasonal opener, I think that's why you're getting the price that you've got. But that first run of the season would always have been around with Royal Ascot in mind. So I'm looking at last year's form. I think he's got every chance, and prices or not, for me, he's the most likely winner. So I'm going with Native Trail to start us off.
Yeah, Native Trail 7-1. Obviously, prices don't matter, but when you look, I think he's probably got a better chance than what the 7-1 represents at the moment. I think he should probably be a little bit closer. His juvenile form was absolutely brilliant. He wasn't too bad last season, was he, at all, winning the Irish 2000? So, yeah, it's just if you can beat the likes of Inspiral and Modern Games. And for me, even though I think he's got a good chance, I am going to give the chance to Inspiral, the filly. She's joined at the top of the market. I think she deserves to be. The only thing you could say about this horse is she has blown out a few times in her career. But when she's come back off being like a break and that's fresh, she's normally gone on and won. If you look what she did at the meeting last season in the Coronation Stakes, obviously against her own sex, she was absolutely superb at one of the performances of the week up. I'm hoping that if you look through her Group 1 form over in France as well, in Deauville when she won the Prix-Jacques Le Marois, I just think that some of that form really outweighs the rest. Look, Modern Games, absolutely brilliant. I love the horse as well. You know how much I do, Frankie. I've put him up a few times over the years. With his Group 1 record, it's brilliant. But for me, Inspiral rated 120. You've got Modern Games rated officially 121, and Inspiral's getting £3. So off the back of that, you'd like to think Inspiral should go and win. she does come with an element of doubt. Is she going to do it? But for me, I think she will. I think John Thady Gosder in cracking form coming into the meeting, and the Frankie effect. Frankie Dettori's last ever Royal Ascot, and he'll be looking to kickstart the meeting with a winner. So Inspiral for me and Native Trail for yourself. But the next race we're going to cover is the Group 2 Coventry Stakes. This doesn't get any easier, really, Frankie, because it's a race that always finds superstars. But they might be at the top of the market, they might be in the middle of the market, might be the end of the market. We've seen all different prices win this race. So who are you going to go with in this year's renewal?
Yeah, there definitely. Well, I'd imagine there will be a superstar come from this race. You know, I like to give me the Beat Boys at an each way price. But for ITV7 purposes, I'm going to be boring and stick with the Aidan O'Brien trained favourite River Tiber. I was just watching back some of the replays of those at the top of the market this morning. And the thing I liked about River Tiber's last start at Naas was he ran a little bit green and Ryan just had to get him going. And I think to win a race, whilst not quite being as focused as he probably could have been, shows how much is left in the tank. And if he gets himself organised a little bit sooner and with the extra furlong as well, now back to 6 furlongs, I think he's clearly a very talented horse. So I do like Give Me the Beat Boys, but for ITV7, just gonna go with the Aidan O'Brien favourite because he's I think it'd definitely be in the mixer.
I think sometimes when you look through these races, and especially for the ITV7, sometimes you just got to go, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to stick
Yeah.
to what I know. And I'm with you here. I think River Tiber's the most likely winner. And I even think if you're looking from a price perspective, 15-8. But what he's shown and he's what I like about River Tiber compared to a Sadner at the top of the market, and Give Me the Beat Boys is a horse I do like, but from a betting perspective, maybe is a bit short compared to his anti-post price. But River Tiber's been seen twice now. And for these 2-year-olds, the more experience they can have, it's only gonna be better for later on in their career. And especially for this race. And for what I've learned from watching this horse is he needs 6 furlongs. He's been over 5.5, he's been over 5, he's now getting the step up to 6. I think it'll be the making of this horse. Like we mentioned, there's always been superstars come out this race. I think a few will, but I think River Tiber will be the one that we're talking about for the next few years in his career, because I think he could be a superstar. His win by 10 lengths on debut was one of the most taking juvenile performances I've seen this season. I think he handles both good and soft ground. So if there is a bit of rain in the air on Tuesday morning, we don't know how much is actually going to fall. He's one that won't be affected too much because he's shown it on both. I think he's solid. I think he's absolutely solid. So I'm with you. River Tiber in the Group 2 Coventry. And Aidan O'Brien, he loves having a good one in that, doesn't he? And he has over the years. So hopefully this one can be another. Another Group 1. Right, another Group 1 we're going to kick into is the Group 1 King Stan Stakes. It's one of the features on the day. See some of the fastest horses in the world take on each other. And we've got a really multicultural view of horses here, because you've got Irish, you've got Australian, you've got English. You've got them from all over, haven't you? And at the top of the market, we've got Highfield Princess at 5-2. What a brilliant horse she's been for connections over the years. Coolangatta for the Australians at 9-2. Mannequin 5-1. Dramatized at 7-1 for Carl Burr. Cannonball 12s. Twilight Calls, a favourite of yours, at 16s. And then Twilight Gleaming for the Americans at 20s. And 25-1 bar those. Frankie, another cracker, but this is tough from a punting perspective.
It is, yeah. I could have about 4 or 5 bets in this, and I still might not find the winner. I've been talked into backing the Aussies here. Sprinting is their bag, and Coolangatta, she looks very, very quick. And I was watching back her last performance when she won the Group 1 over in Australia. That Nature Strip, the winner of this race, was beating 5th or 6th in that race. He probably didn't run to form, but I think it just shows the quality of those Group 1 sprints out there. They have top class horses, and she does look very, very good. So I'm going to side with the Aussies. I think they'll probably win one of the sprints throughout the week, and I think this is the most likely for me. So Coolangatta gets my vote.
Yeah, I do think the Australians will win one of the sprints, but I don't think they'll win this one. I think Highfield Princess will win this one. And with this one, I'm actually going with Head Hand Heart, because I absolutely love this horse. And she's the epitome of what it would be to own a horse. So you want to own her, wouldn't you? Because she was rated, she was winning a handicap off a mark of 58, and now she's rated 119. Like if
Yeah,
that
it just
doesn't
gets
show,
better and better as an owner.
that's what I mean. It just doesn't get better. Last season, she took her form to a completely new level in the sprinting division, didn't she? She won the Group 2 Duke of York Clipper Stakes. She went into Royal Ascot, 6th of 24 in the Platinum Jubilee Stakes, which wasn't a bad run at all. Off the back of that run, she went on to land a hat-trick of Group 1s. Firstly in France, taking the Prix Maurice de Geest. That was on good to soft ground. Then in August, on much quicker ground, she took the Nunthorpe off top weight. A final winner of the team came at the Curragh in the Flying Five Stakes. To land a Group 1 in France, England, and then Ireland is just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable to me. She then went over to America to try and land the four-timer in a different country in the Breeders' Cup. And she finished off her season. She was a good fourth. It was a good run. Caravel, Emiratiana, Creative Falls were all ahead of that day. That's no disgrace at all. She returned this season as a 6-year-old for John Quinn. I think the trainer, if you look through his interviews before she ran at York, he was unsure whether she would have going to train on again for being a year older, but she definitely did. It was a great performance in the Group 2 Duke of York Clipper Stakes. She only finished half a length behind the winner, Azor Blue, who she was giving £5 to. Azor Blue has been one of the most progressive horses already this season. What we've seen from her. She's already come out and win since then. So I think she set up everything perfectly for Royal Ascot this season. So Highfield Princess, I know she's at the top of the market and it's keeping it a bit simple, but if she runs to the form she did last season, she'll take all the beating for me. So Highfield Princess. Right, the final Group 1 we're going to cover on the ITV7 game on Tuesday is an absolute cracking race. St James's Palace Stakes for the 3-year-olds, over a mile. You've got Chaldean top of the market, 9-4, your English 2,000 guineas winner. You've got the Irish 2,000 guineas winner in Paddington at 5-2. Cicero's Gift for Charlie Hills is the unknown quantity. Isaac Shelby 9-1, Mustabshir 9-1, Royal Scotsman, who was backed off the boards for the Irish 2,000 but couldn't get the job done at 14s. Galeron 40s, Charin 50s, and Indestructible at 50s. Frankie, who'd you like?
You know how much I've been racking my brains about this race, James, because I put up Indestructible at 50-1 from a betting perspective. So you know I'm really struggling to find the winner because I wasn't looking for the winner really. I was thinking what might place at a big price. Because I find it really hard to split the top two. I do think the most likely winner comes from Paddington or Chaldean, your English and Irish 2,000 guineas winners. And I'm kind of going on the basis here that Chaldean was always talked about in Newmarket as being that horse and being Andrew Balding's top horse, and he was going to win the guineas. And Paddington wasn't really. I know that he's obviously a rapid improver, but he wasn't mentioned as much in the early parts of the season or even the back end of last season, I don't think, in my opinion. So Chaldean was, the horse that was talked about, sorry, not Newmarket, but by connections, and he went and did the business in the 2000. He's very straightforward. He's an out-and-out miler. He go on any ground, and he just, again, from an ITV perspective, who do I think should most likely winner? For me, it's Chaldean.
Yeah, Frankie taking the ride as well. He was brilliant on him in the 2000. Obviously, a little bit before that, but he is many good horses that he can ride this week. He's going to have a chance, isn't he? Because Royal Ascot is his playground, really. So, Chaldean, yeah, I think you're right. He's definitely solid. I think Paddington, like you say, also solid. But for me, I'm going to take a chance on one that maybe hasn't got the Group 1 form yet, but could do this time on Tuesday. And that's Cicero's Gift for Charlie Hills. First seen as a juvenile by winning by close to 3 lengths at Newbury over a mile. That was on soft ground. He saw off the well-bred Rajasthan that day, and I thought that was a really good performance, showing he could do it on soft. Put away, came back for a 3-year-old campaign this term. He returned at Wolves under a penalty. When again, shown a really good attitude over 8.5 furlongs that day. He beat Harry Eustace, horse came trained Docklands. Docklands has come out and won since. Last seen back on turf at Goodwood over a mile. He put up another career best effort to beat the listed field and stakes second, Colsai. He won by close to 6 lengths that day. He was probably flattered slightly because Colsai had a lot of trouble in running and ran on, but the bird had flown by the time and the way he kicked into gear to win that race that day, for me, visually was very taking. So it's nice to see that they've sent him here. It's real stiff mile at Ascot. He's untried in Group 1 company, but it doesn't mean he can't be a Group 1 horse. And I think if you, from a betting perspective, you get a lovely price to see how good he actually is. And I think he's very special. So Cicero's Gift to beat both the 2,000 guineas winner for me. And let's hope he goes and does it. The first handicap event of the afternoon we're going to cover on the this ITV7 game on Tuesday is the Ascot Stakes over 2 mile 4. Frankie, we have another strong favourite at the top of the betting. It's called Bring on the Night for Willie Mullins. He was a narrow second in this race last year. Are you taking him on or are you siding with him?
Going to take him on. Might regret it because I mean, even the fact that we haven't seen Bring on the Night since being second in this last year tells you something, doesn't it? But I am going to try and take him on. I like Law of the Sea, who on his first start for Ian Williams was fourth in the Chester Cup, but a very unlucky fourth. Didn't quite get the room he needed at the crucial time. And I think once that race was said and done, the next target would have been Ascot. So he went to Haydock and was second at Haydock and ran well, but don't think that was, be all and end all. It was probably a prep run en route to Ascot for obviously another big pot handicap after being unlucky at Chester. So I'm going with the Law of the Sea. I think it's very fair at double figure price from a punting perspective, but even ITV selections wise, it's definitely beyond his mark, in my opinion. It's just if he is good enough to win, obviously, a race of this caliber.
I think you banged on with Law of the Sea. I think he's got an absolutely cracking chance. I think he's definitely ahead of his mark. And if you look at Ian Williams' record in this race, I think he's won 2 of the last 4 renewals. So he really does know how to get a horse to win this race. Saying that, I think Law of the Sea is a great each way option, and I'll be putting him up each way. But we need winners on the ITV7. And I think there's a massive reason why they haven't raced this horse since he's second in this race last year. And Bring on the Night off a mark of 97 could be seriously well handicapped, couldn't he? If you look,
Coltrane won the race, didn't he?
Coltrane won the race last season. Coltrane's now a £19 better horse. It's favourite for the Gold Cup. And Bring on the Night's only £4 higher than that mark.
I know, James. Sometimes it's too obvious. I try and be clever.
Another thing with Bring on the Night here, when they raced against Coltrane in this race last year, they were off the same mark. But Callum Hutchinson was on board Coltrane, taking off £5. So it even makes the performance even better because only going down by 3/4 of a length. If you also look back through Bring on the Night's jumps form, it's absolutely superb. On his second run, he was sent to the Cheltenham Festival in the Supreme. He was behind Constitution Hill in the Supreme. We know how good that horse is. He's then gone to the Punchestown Festival, finished behind El Fabiolo. Everything stacks up for this horse, like we mentioned with Coltrane, how good that form really is. I don't know whether he's been kept off because of his mark and coming back to this race, or there's been a little setback. I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's because they want to keep his mark. And off a mark of 97, he could be seriously well in. Also, Ryan Moore and Willie Mullins got a great relationship together on the flat. He normally rides his best ones, doesn't he? So, yeah, I'm hoping he can go and get the job done. But for Law of the Sea, I think it's a cracking shout as well at a slightly bigger price. But yeah, it's a really good race to see how that unfolds because it's a bit of a hot pot job. Against some more experienced horses in it, so we'll have to wait and see. The penultimate ITV7 race then from Royal Ascot on Tuesday sees the listed Wolferton Stakes over 1 mile 2 furlongs. And Frankie, I found this the most difficult race to go through. I thought you can make a case for a lot of horses in this field, and you could find slightly different angles with all of them. But who did you come down on?
Yeah, it's a very, very good listed race, isn't it? And there's plenty in here, got horses that are coming down from group level, and then you've equally got horses that have won or should have won a decent handicap and are coming into listed company. So it is very tricky to figure out. I'm going to go with Buckaroo, who was a good fourth in a Group 1 over in France last time out, only a short head fourth as well, and has previously won a couple of listed races, once beating Homeless Songs, who was very, very good. So it is really tricky. I could have put a shout out for Saga, Cadillac, I think, after winning at the Derby weekend. But Buckaroo, I think the fourth in a Group 1 last time is very solid form. Probably would benefit from a little bit of rain, maybe. Best form comes on I think, a bit of form on soft and even heavy. But has equally raced on good ground, so I'm not overly worried. And Ashim Murphy rides for the 3rd time this year, having won already once on him.
Yeah, I think Buckaroo's solid at sevens, massive each way player. And I very nearly went with Buckaroo myself. But I'm just going to go with Francesco Clemente. He's a horse I put up for his first run this season. I thought he'd get the job done. But from what I saw that day, he travelled like an absolute dream into the race. Only being beaten, I think, by a short head by King of Conquest, who he takes on again here. But if you look how long he had off before that race, and to travel that smoothly and maybe not find as much, he might have just needed a blow, and he might have been perfectly set up for this race. If you look back to his 3-year-old career, he beat Secret State on debut at Newmarket over a mile. He then backed that up at Sandown when he was up to 1 mile too. And the second went on to win as well from there. And he landed a hat-trick on handicap debut on the July course off a marker 99. He showed he was way above a marker 99 that day. Like I said, he's run after, 10 months off the track in a listed event. King of Conquest, if you actually look at this horse, he's now £3 worse off with Francesco Clemente. So you can see why the odds are 6-1, 9-1. I think Francesco Clemente will reverse the placings massively in that because of that little bit £3 weight that you're going to get. I am surprised to see, and I'm only thinking because of Royal Ascot, the King's horse, that Frankie Dettori chose to ride Saga. But for me, and who am I to tell Frankie Dettori what to do? But I would have been riding Francesco Clemente over Saga personally, because
I think Saga would have won last time out, having got a clearer run at Newmarket.
Yeah, but you look on the weight at 9 stone 5. They're both 9 stone 5 and officially rated 112. Francesco Clemente, whereas only Saga's 106. So if you're going off that, I can't understand why. Rob Hoblin's a good rider anyway, but you would have wanted to see Dettori on. But maybe that's where you're getting a slightly bigger price. If Dettori was on, I think Saga would be 6-1. And Francesco Clemente would be 4s. But there you go. So from a betting perspective, I think you're getting a nice price about that horse. And I love Frankie, but I hope he's made the wrong decision here. And Francesco Clemente goes in and does the job.
Yeah, King's horse beat at Royal Ascot.
Look. I want to win. I want to win the ITV7. So we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, the final event from Ascot on Tuesday is the Copper Horse Handicap over 1 mile 6 furlongs, and it sees another Mullins hot pot at the top of the market. I feel like we're doing the ITV7 for Cheltenham, not Royal Ascot with Mullins having 2 favourites. He's got Vauban at the top of the market, and we all know just how good a jumps horse Vauban is. But can he do it on the flat? He's 15-8 at the top of the market. We've got another Mullins one with the Tory on board. Absurd. That's currently 6-1. I can see that being shorter with the Tory factor. Ruling Dynasty at 8-1. Nice win at Haydock 11 days ago. Point King for Joseph O'Brien 17-2, and then 14-18, 20-1 bar the rest. Frankie, finish off the ITV7 picks for Tuesday.
Got to have a Godolphin winner. Well, actually, I'd need to trial in the first. But Ruling Dynasty, the most unexposed in the field. The Appleby team have had their little blip Derby weekend. They're now back to form, 35% stride rate over the last couple of weeks. We know that they get their horses, as does everyone, but they always really come good, don't they? The Godolphin team for Royal Ascot. And I think, well, I'd be pretty certain this horse is definitely beyond the mark of 97. It's the same sort of story. Is he going to be good enough to win this? I hope so. He's improving rapidly, looked really good when giving weight away last time out, and I think he will improve and be even fitter come Tuesday. So Ruling Dynasty, the least exposed, sorry, not the most exposed, I think I said, in the field with only 3 starts so far, and a fast improving horse.
Yeah, I think Ruling Dynasty, he's solid at 8s because you know when you see these Godolphin horses, they're more than likely always going to improve. So this horse is 4 years of age and hasn't been seen that often. Could definitely be better than a marker 97. And I think you've got a great shout, yeah. But look, we've talked time and time again, haven't we, already, about just wanting winners in this. And Vauban off a marker 101. Wow. I think he's seriously well in here. What a jump source this has been. And I think what for me is stuck with me, and he might go against me here, is I love the jumps. I love the flat, but I love the jumps, and I love this horse. What he did in his juvenile career was absolutely superb. And obviously, as a 5-year-old coming back last season, it's so hard going into open company as a 5-year-old, taking on the likes of Constitution Hill, State Man every week. It was just he was never going to live up to the expectations this season, I think. But going back to his juvenile career, Grade 1 Spring Juvenile at Dublin Race Festival, Grade 1 Triumph Hurdle, the Grade 1 champion 4-year-old, back-to-back Grade 1s in his division. He was absolutely brilliant. Look at this season, like I said, behind State Man in the Matheson Hurdle, behind Honeysuckle and State Man in the Irish Champion Hurdle, behind Constitution Hill and State Man in the Champion Hurdle, then behind State Man again at the Punchestown Champion Hurdle. His form on over jumps, you can't knock it coming down to the flat. And I think off a marker 101, I just think he's very, very well in. They always said they were going to take this horse on the flat. I wouldn't be surprised if they went here and then went to the Ebor, because that's over a similar trip. 1 mile 6 will be no problem for this horse because he's a very, very quick horse. And when you're not looking at odds and just looking for the winner, I think Vauban is your most.
I do agree. Yeah, I do agree. He must be well handicapped, mustn't he? Because the horse has clearly progressed since the last time we saw him on the flat. I'm the opposite to you. I have a weird thing. I try and get the jumps horses beat when we're at a flat meeting. Like you said, you love the jumps and you kind of might be
I want
swayed
that form to do well. I want that form to do well on the flat. Do you know what I mean? So
I always try and get them beat if there's a jumps horse at Royal Ascot. But yeah, both of Mullins are clearly well handicapped, aren't they? So.
Well, this is the other thing. It's Mullins. You know what you can do, regardless if it's flat or the jumps. If he's got a well-handicapped horse, he's normally seriously well-handicapped, and I'm hoping both of them are. And obviously, like we're saying, for the ITV7, you just want to find winners, and hopefully we have found a few. Anyway, that's it. That's everything for day one of Royal Ascot. Frankie, thanks for your selections, as always. We'll be back with an ITV7 preview for each day of the meeting, so don't forget to subscribe to the Enclosure channel so you get notified when the next one has gone live. Obviously, we've been talking about the ITV7 throughout all of this. If you want to get involved for this year's completely free to enter ITV7 competition on Tuesday, use the code TWE ITV7 to join our TWE League. £250 first place, cash prize up for grabs, finishing top of the leaderboard. And also across the week, you can play each day of the Royal Meeting on ITV7. Giving you the chance to win up to £750,000 in jackpot prizes across the week. Obviously, T's and C's, check them out in the description below. And there's plenty of other details there. Frankie, day one ticked off. 4 more days to go. Thanks everyone for watching, and all the best whatever you're back in on day one of Royal Ascot.